You're welcome back. Well, low export volume from Nigeria has been associated with high rate of exchange of the naira to major foreign currencies. The 2022 annual trade survey seeks to unravel the root causes of the lack of growth of non-export volume in the country and provide insights into what needs to be done by the government and the people, as well as the banks, and fix the problems in the industry. We have Bamidele Ayemibo, the lead consultant at 3T Impex Consulting, to give us some highlights from their findings and some of the way forward. Good morning, Ms. Ayemibo. Thank you so much for your time. So let's just get straight into it this morning. Your report indicates that 94% of exporters experience rejection of their financing requests by Nigerian banks. Was it not well packaged?
Yeah, that was a very interesting one, and a number of people have asked a lot of questions around it. Even though reports also showed that afterwards, some of them eventually got financing, because the report eventually showed that about 11% of them eventually got the financing. But the fact still remains that majority of requests to banks of financing requests for export to bank are rejected. And in my opinion, from what we are finding, it's not just the bank to be blamed, even the exporter themselves to be blamed. And of course, government have a role to play to be able to make it happen. This report covers both the large scale, medium, and micro, and a number of the SMEs fall within the bracket where we have this rejection. What we also observe is the fact that a number of the presentation or proposal to the bank are defective, which is where we're encouraging the bank to begin to find means of training the SMEs on how to present a bankable proposal to the bank for financing. But also, what is important, I think the bank also need to do is to consider reducing some of the stringent measures. I mean, I'm talking about the requirement now. For example, if I'm exporting and I need to provide a tangible collateral, where my good can be used as collateral also need to be looked into. And on the part of the government, of course, we expect the government to also provide export credit insurance. I think that to a large extent we help the bank to be able to finance the export sector more.
All right, so you've touched on a lot of things, I must say, because in my conversations with both the financial sector and the exporters themselves, the issue of bookkeeping, proper bookkeeping, to convince the bankers has been an issue. And you talked about training, but I don't know whose responsibility that should be, because you said the banks, but the banks are just there to make money. So who should actually handle this, especially when you look at the MSMEs, the issue of bookkeeping, following up and being strict in presenting, so that at the point they want to get finance, they have the evidence of a proper business being run. Who should handle this?
Now, in the real sense of the word, it should be the exporter. But look at this. The nation is suffering seriously because we don't have enough foreign exchange. CBN launched RT200 FS program. Mm-hmm. If you want to be successful, we must grow trade. If we have identified that one of the challenges is the fact that the exporters are not able to present a good proposal, training them by the banks have done this in the past for a lot of SMEs to be able to assist them. So I don't think it's out of place. For me, it would be a support service that banks should use to attract more exporters to themselves. In as much as that should be the job of the exporter themselves, since it's affecting even the bank themselves, because the bank do not have enough foreign exchange to fund import transactions, and it's affecting the entire nation. So in as much as this should be the prerogative of the exporter, I think government stepping in, particularly the bank, because the bank now understand these are the issues your report or request have. These are the things you need to do to be able to present a proposal to us that will make us be able to finance your transaction.
And then the issue of logistics at our ports. I know the other time we had a lot of queues, and we still have some queues. And then the NNPC did connect it to construction, around the port area, Papa, in Lagos and all of that. And we've talked about the issue of, some of the activities going on, even by the regulating authorities or enforcement authorities around the ports. How much has this contributed to what we're suffering in the country now, this lack of dollar?
Now, The exporters in this survey confirmed that 26% said export logistics is their major challenge. 20% said inadequate financing is their major challenge. 11% said government agency at the port, custom and other agency is their major challenge. If you add this together, about 57% is saying if you deal with logistics, if you deal with financing, if you deal with the agency at the port, reducing delay with them, we'll be able to fast track and grow the export volume in Nigeria. Let me talk about the logistics. It's not just the logistics. So now we have a situation in which we are now using barges to move goods from my two area down to Apapa, from Ikorodu down to Apapa. But we observe something, an exporter also, and we observe that so you are using those terminal, you still have to go into Apapa to do clearing of your goods for export, documentation and clearing with custom. So you still have to have the delay and the challenges of getting to Apapa and all the step processes that things have been automated. So if we automate the process of spot clearance, particularly with custom and the government agency, the way CBN has done the part of the NXP on one hand, and then ensure that I can do spot clearance with custom at the terminals. Before that, I have to go into Apapa is a challenge. So Apapa logistics is there, and we are now using baggage from Ikorodu, baggage from my two. Why don't we have custom terminals at those locations and the government agents? So I have a one-stop shop that if I'm moving my goods from this location, I don't need to worry myself about because now I'm going to move it on water. I should also be able to clear through custom at that location, and the paperwork should be reduced significantly. Let me do it online so we can fast track it, because in as much as we want to grow export, if you don't fast track the clearing process, we're also creating a problem.
So I know that there are some companies that have offered to take care of all of this logistics. They tell you they're your one-stop shop for, dealing with exports. Are those people not able to fill in the gap? I know that the long-term solution should be that, of course, the government should automate the process and reduce the bureaucracy and all of that. But, I mean, dealing with what we have at this time, what about those corporates that promise you to be a one-stop shop for export? I know it will cost you something, but doesn't it take the hassle off you as an exporter?
Anybody saying that is not telling you the truth, because you can't be a one-stop shop. You still depend on custom. Like the case I just painted for you. Even if I want to handle it for an exporter, I still need to go through these agencies. And I still need to go into the port to meet this agency to do the clearing. And we are saying, can we move this clearing process outside the port? Why can't I, if I have a terminal in Kano, terminal in Kaduna, terminal in Edo, terminal in Ibadan, or your state, why can't I just clear my goods for export in this location and be able to get the goods straight into the port? So if we have terminal outside, the NEPC have done the domestic export warehouse, and we're saying those domestic export warehouse should be such that we have clearing of custom at that location, not just custom, all the other agencies. So having a one-stop shop is what we should work towards. But the way to make it happen is the location where I'm stopping the goods into the container, custom is doing its inspection, documentation is being done, approval is being drafted by the CBN, and all this is done at a location, primarily online, and then it makes it faster for me to move my good into the port. So anybody saying they will be able to do the clearing, you need custom to do it. So you can't really be a one-stop shop. You still have to depend on custom, depend on the PIA, and depend on bank for you to be able to get it done.
Unfortunately, sounds. But let's look at supply chain disruptions that have come with the Ukraine war, the Russia-Ukraine war. The world is talking about it. It's affecting a lot of countries. Is it affecting us, or is it just what we have created for ourselves that is affecting us?
It's painful that we are experiencing that disruption and we are adding to it in Nigeria. I had an experience recently. I needed to ship goods to, I think, North America, and it took about over a month to transship in Morocco. For it to go to Canada. I mean, those are the issues that this war is causing because of disruption in the global supply chain. Now, I think that challenge we should have control over, such that we should help ourselves locally, so that even if we are going to experience that, we should help ourselves locally to fast track whatever we are doing locally, so that whatever will happen afterwards, it's not aggravate the challenge we're already facing. I'm supposed to do, maybe I plan to do 3 or 4 transactions in a year, or 5 transactions in a year. if we don't take care of the logistic challenges, it even has some time for people to be able to do too. Because you spend literally sometimes 2 months just doing things people have done within 2 weeks or even a week in some countries. I had a situation in which I was shipping to a country. By the time I was telling the buyer about the fact that the goods are arriving. And he's telling me, look, they have cleared the goods. Yes, cleared the goods. Within 2 days, the container is already out of the port. That also happens when they are exporting. And that's what we have to do here. And I think we have to de-emphasize going to the port for anything. It should be done outside the port. So, or truck or badges are moving into the port straight to the ship side for it to be loaded on board the ship for shipment to the destination.
You know, Ms. Ayemibo, we've been having these conversations for so many times. Sometimes, you know, being in the media, it's our job, of course, to highlight it. But sometimes we just wish there was something we could do to make action. What, from your perspective, can we do to, you know, make something happen instead of just talking about it?
Now, I think, you know, it's good time we are going into election period. I think the media should emphasize the fact that the presidency should take it as a duty on growth of exports in Nigeria. NDC is doing a lot, CPN is doing a lot. But you know, when Obama became president in America, he set up a committee that reports to him directly to grow American export. Because he realized for every $1 billion export, there are hundreds of thousands of jobs created. If the president does not own it and drive it, I'm not sure we'll be able to have the success we desire. It needs to be at every speech president is making, at every event that has to do with economy and commerce, we should hear that word export, non-oil export. So to be able to put all the agency of government on their toes, meaning what they call the body language of the government, of the presidency, so that they can give the necessary support. Imagine a situation in which we are shipping goods into Nigeria, air cargo, for example. You have a situation in which airline, the Nigeria Promotion Council, and the agents are complaining about the fact that a government agency charges too much for landing charges for cargo plane compared to neighboring country. And they don't care about it. They don't do anything about it. They need to make the money. But if the presidency tells them what to do to support that agency, they will do it because they are reporting to the presidency.
Well, I don't know how many times you've heard the word non-oil exports as the campaigns are going on and debates and town hall meetings are going on with the politicians and the candidates of different parties. I don't know how many times. I don't think I've heard a whole lot, Mr. Ayemibo.
No, we are not making enough noise. Look at AFCFTA, for example. AFCFTA, my opinion is that ECOWAS, TLS failed, but when such exists. Front-line candidate, I think the top 3 or top 5 about AFCFTA is successful. Many countries in Africa now have started trading. Have started in Ghana, it started in Kenya, it started in I think Rwanda and other countries. Nigeria is still struggling to put together a documentation after how many years?
I tell you,
30 years of starting time, almost 2 years of banking. We're still putting together. So it's like they're holding to get it done. We're not all the agencies of government on their toes. The presidency is the only one that can drive it. So all the agencies will have to move at their pace unless someone give them a matching order that this has to be done at this particular point in time, else their job will be on the line.
All right, Mr. Ayemibo, we quite understand your passion there, especially when we are here and we report how Kenya and Ghana, we are the giant of Africa. They've started trading on AFCFTA. We're still talking about, I think the last time there was a meeting of the Action Committee, they were still talking about the strategy that they're going to present to the presidency, not yet approved. So, I mean, we understand that, and we do hope that, you know, the incoming government would sit up and Nigerians will actually hold people in authority, you know, to question. When they make promises, follow up. And don't vote because you are being paid or because of sentiments, but because, you know, these are people you believe in. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Mr. Bamidele Ayemibo is a lead consultant at 3T Impex Consulting. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.